15 minutes before 8 o'clock. If you're buying a car, there are a lot of things certainly to consider. And we have you covered this morning, from knowing what you're paying for to deciding if you should lease or buy.
And that's where we begin our coverage. News4JAX anchor Vic Micolucci is here this morning. So, Vic, it is a tough decision.
It's an interesting time to buy a car right now as well, but we want to help you save some money, Bruce. The choice between buying or leasing a car can be a tough call, especially with persistent supply chain issues and those rising interest rates. So we got some advice from the experts at Consumer Reports to help you decide which option makes the most sense for you.
Oscar Pagan says buying a car this past January was a no-brainer.
The option to own is always better, in my opinion, than to lease, because at least you have an asset, and if anything ever happens, you can sell that asset.
But deciding whether to buy or lease your next vehicle can be a tough decision. And with today's higher car prices, the average price paid for a new car is nearly $50,000. And with higher interest rates above 6%, you're likely looking at a bigger monthly payment, no matter which you choose. Consumer Reports says on the surface, leasing can be more appealing than buying.
First, it's always under warranty. Second, you're always driving a car with the latest safety features. And third, if you're working part-time in the office and part-time at home, you're not driving as much. So that means you probably won't exceed the lease's limits on how many miles you can drive.
Monthly payments are usually lower with a lease because you're not paying for the full value of the car. That means you may be able to drive a more expensive vehicle than you'd normally be able to afford. While that might sound appealing, there's one hard fact about leasing. At the end of the term, you'll have to return the car because you do not own it.
A major downside of leasing is that you have an endless cycle of paying for a car. You're never without a car payment because as soon as the one lease is up, you have to either buy a car or get into another lease.
It's difficult to make a fair head-to-head comparison, but in general, 2 back-to-back 3-year leases will always cost more compared with buying and owning a car over that same period, because the buyer owns an asset, the vehicle, after the period. If you do choose to buy your next car, Consumer Reports says there are some easy ways to save. Don't rely on the dealer for the best loan rate. Instead, check if your bank or local credit unions offer lower rates. And if your heart isn't set on a specific make and model, shop around for financing incentives that might be offered by manufacturers.
Consumer Reports experts say don't forget, even if you choose to lease, you should still negotiate the price of the car and the terms of the deal.